Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts. This is a answering questions episode, so I'll get right to it, even though it's one question here. Brendan from Morris, New York. My question is about cryptozoology. What is your thought that dinosaurs may still exist? Well, cryptozoology I don't follow too often, but even though we've all heard of certain things that certain prehistoric animals might still be around today. In terms of cryptozoology, Mycelium bembe, the small-sized sauropod that's probably living in the Congo. There's also the idea of that maybe a pterosaur might be roaming around Papua New Guinea, and also you heard of the Loch Ness monster, of a plesiosaur that survived the extinction and is still living in Loch Ness, and all that sorts of stuff, and even Megalania might still be roaming around Australia and all that sorts of stuff. But Megalania is still existing. That's probably not that probably doesn't exist right now, considering that Megalania went extinct about 20,000 years ago, and then saying plesiosaur in Loch Ness, that's probably too big of a stretch to say that. We all know that the Loch Ness monster now is considered to be a little bit more of a hoax than anything else. The giant pterosaur in Papua New Guinea, that has actually been debunked, so that kind of shows that people are probably just saying something else that is just in their habitat. But in terms of Mycelium bembe, the small sauropod that is living in the Congo, I think sometimes the locals actually do get a little bit confused on certain types of animals that is in their environment, because the villagers tend to say that that Mycelium bembe is actually a real animal, but even though they wouldn't say sauropod, they would actually say it's like a reptile that actually has a long neck, a small head, has these spikes coming down from the back of the head all the way towards the tail, and it's semi-aquatic, and would make these kind of confusing noises that doesn't match with any other type of animal and all that sort of stuff. But my guess is that they're misidentifying certain animals that they don't normally see in the water, but they actually see them on land. Because if any of you actually seen a Monster Quest or a Beast Hunter on the History Channel, the Monster Quest has actually done the Mycelium bembe episode, and I had to say that what they were looking for was probably, they were looking at small, tiny little tunnels that they think that Mycelium bembe might actually be roaming around in. Even though some of those holes are so small, how could a sauropod fit in there? And also, because those are probably just done by probably the river actually just making just eroding away some of the sand, or otherwise the sediments that are actually there, or otherwise that could be just a small fish that might have actually just made habitat there and all that sorts of stuff. And as for maybe they've seen the spikes of the animal, probably what they were probably seeing was probably logs actually that actually had stubby little branches that were actually still attached. You see, what happens when logs are decaying in water is that they release a lot of gas, and so they would have some buoyancy things that would be going on here. So that would be very strange to them, because they wouldn't think that that's a tree. They would actually think oh, that's an animal moving around there. And so they probably think that some of those stubby branches could actually be spikes, and possibly for those weird those weird sounds that a normal animal, what they think is not there, that is actually not part of anything that is on land. Probably what actually is that it might have been an elephant, a forest elephant, that might be in the water. And so probably what they were seeing for like a neck or a head is probably the trunk of the elephant, and possibly the head kind of sticking out of the water might look like a giant bodied type of animal that they have never seen before. And so that might actually be the case of that. They might be thinking that it might be like a reptile-like animal with a long neck and a small head that actually will be roaming around in the rivers. And so that would be my best guess in terms of like that they might be actually misidentifying animals, that they're actually there in their environment, but they just can't understand why an animal on land would actually be in the water, because sometimes they don't really have the Western science that we actually have, and so that actually kind of shows that they rely a little bit more on their like spiritual religion and their tribal culture and all that sorts of stuff. So they kind of have these stories that go from generations to generations to generations to generations. And so, but it's just probably misidentification. But you see, sometimes they think that like an elephant in the water wouldn't make sense to them, because they think like that they only see elephants on land and they see them in the forest, and they possibly think that, oh, these animals are too big to swim. Elephants can swim very well, and so all that sort of stuff. So having an actual dinosaur of what we think of dinosaurs still existing, probably not existing right now, because what we think of dinosaurs are actually extinct. And we actually do find bones of dinosaurs that say that were past the KT boundary, but that's just a weird thing in geology, where like that bone was actually buried in the sediments where it belongs, but actually got eroded away and was exposed at that time of where it was exposed, but then all of a sudden it got reburied, and it actually was buried by the sediments that was actually deposited after the KPG extinction. So that would actually be the case for that. And so that would actually be the case of that. Those were bones that were just pretty much buried in sediments that were actually older, and then all of a sudden it got exposed by erosion, and then they actually just got reburied again. And so that would probably be the case with that. And but you see, there are actual dinosaurs that are still living among us, and those are actually the modern day birds. And so birds are actually theropod dinosaurs, and so they're actually they're just roaming around, flying around, all over the place. So you actually find dinosaurs everywhere, and there's more bird species than mammal species. So that kind of actually is pretty cool to think, is that the Earth still belongs to dinosaurs, even though mammals are the largest animals that are actually living right now. And so that's kind of actually the idea of that dinosaurs still roam the Earth no matter what, because birds are actually dinosaurs. Alright, that's it for now. This Wednesday and also this Friday, I will actually be uploading two special episodes. One will actually be Torvosaurus, and and I totally forgot what the other one is, but Brendan, you actually did send me that request, and so that would actually be the two. These are actually going to be dinosaurs, and so those would actually be these animals will be separate from each other. So for these episodes, so Torvosaurus would be one, and then the other animal will be in the next, and then the next week would be another 2 episodes, and then the next week would actually be another 2 episodes. So that would be the case there, and we'll actually get right towards special episode number 100. And now, like I said, in the last episode was that it's top secret. I'm actually going to give clues as it gets closer to the episode 100. So it'll be in the week where the 100th special episode will actually be happening. And also, I said it's on location, so that would actually be a really cool thing. And so there could be an issue with the lighting, but even though that could actually be the case of where that maybe the camera on the device that I'm actually using will actually make it a little bit more darker than anything else. But we'll see how that goes. But I think it's actually I think it's gonna be really cool. I think you guys are gonna love this one, and there'll be a redux. So this will be an animal I've already talked about. But even though like everything in science, information changes, so that would actually be the case of this. And so that would actually be really, really cool to actually get to see something that I've already something that I'm gonna be really, really close to, and so I can touch it. I can actually show you certain things. So I'm not gonna post anything on social media until I actually give you some clues on it. So there will be a picture. Anyway, so you can still send me as many vertebrate animals that you want me to talk about with these special episodes. So just feel free to send them to me by email at dinochris71@gmail.com, or otherwise go on my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. You can actually see the post about these special episodes. So I'll keep reminding everybody to actually say to give me as many as you can, and before the 100th episode. So the 100th episode is already the animal's already been chosen. So it'd actually be pretty interesting to see what you guys would actually get to see, and so it's going to be awesome, and I would guarantee you that. And like I said, this 100th episode will actually be happening between June 2nd to June 4th. So those would actually be the days where it could actually be uploaded, and so those would be the days that it could be uploaded. So just keep an eye on that, and like as always, you could still send me questions about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life. Feel free to email me at dinochris71@gmail.com, or as well as go on my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Link to the page. You can actually post your questions in the comments section. You can also follow me on Twitter at CSGRILL. That's my Twitter page. I post pretty cool stuff on there. Also, take care of the people around you. Also, for younger people out there, make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. It's the best motivation you can have. A good education. It's very important to have good education. With a good education, you get a good job in the future. Alright, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys sometime this week. First Wednesday.